everyone. Welcome back to Sin City Crypto. My name is David. I'll be one of your co-hosts. And today, like every day, we're coming at you live from our studio here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And what a banger show we got going for you guys today. We got CPI come out. We are 1% away from the Fed's 2% target. Does that mean we're going to get a pause? We're going to discuss that. Also, we have a diet life hack to share with you. We also have Ben Weiss, the founder of CoinFlip and CEO of Olive, joining us. Talk about their new project and how they're looking to push the crypto space forward. And we have some news on Cardano DeFi. And also, is Algorand a dying chain? We're going to get to that and much more. But first, here is my favorite co-host, and his name is Forrest. Forrest, such a pleasure to have you on today. How you doing?
Good. How about you?
I'm great, man. I'm excited, bro. And, we were having a conversation via text message this morning, and you had a pretty interesting take on Bitcoin. And I'm going to share with the stream, and you're going to have to explain yourself because you made some crazy allegations here. But before we get into any allegations or anything like that, I'd like to make a note of our channel sponsor, Cam's Blue Wire Technology. Today's crystal clear 4K stream is brought to you by them. If you own a business or you know someone that owns a business and you want to maximize your network and IT solutions, or maybe you just have issues and you don't have the time because you're too busy making money for your business, you're going to want to visit BlueWireTech.com or simply click the link in the description of this video. Speaking of videos, Rocco, you know what time it is.
What time is it?
It's the giggle time, bro. It's time to laugh.
Hey.
So Vegas has been on a tear lately. People come to Vegas, they forget how to act. They forget Las Vegas is just another city. Well, here we have the latest shenanigans in Las Vegas. And while this is on the Las Vegas Strip by what was formerly Bally's, which is now Horseshoe. And here we, not sure. I'm just like, okay, are they going to like an event? Are they going, or are they just the people that are just...
They're just going to the box, to the post office.
Did you see how dented the side of his...
How are you going to see it through the mask? How are you going to drive? No.
Guys, if you come to Vegas, pretend like you know how to act, okay? That's all I'm going to say. Also, diet hack. So are you looking to cut out sugars? Are you looking to not eat as much chocolate, but you hate salads? Where there's a new hack, and this lady has cracked the code, and well, here it is. Simple steps, guys. First step, take a chocolate bar. Second step, sniff the chocolate bar and then eat your salad. You will trick your brain into thinking you're eating chocolate. So, Forrest, what are your thoughts here? Is this a legitimate life hack? Is this something that you'd be willing to implement in your life if you're looking to cut back on chocolate?
Me, no, absolutely not. I would not have the if it's up in my face, I'm just going to eat the chocolate, right? And I'm going to go work out extra or something. This is crazy.
What about you, Rocco? Like, Italians love chocolate, right?
And we ask ourselves who Satoshi is when we got to crack the code about the diet.
Okay.
There is no need.
There is none. Okay. All right. But just in case any of you watching feel that it's viable, well, then there you go. You're very welcome. Speaking of food, you guys know those viral videos of people that go to Turkey, the country, and there are these ice cream vendors that they put the ice cream cone on a stick and they give it out to you, and then you go to reach it and then you pull an empty cone and they twist it around and the guy did it to a kid, and well, we know how impatient children are, and well, here we go.
Yeah.
And so this is very common. Kids are the best, man. You know what's great about kids is they're unfiltered. They don't care about your feelings. They just tell you how it is. And so don't mess with children. That's what I'm trying to say. And also, this is funny, man. Okay, so there's this guy, Boogie2988. Just a year ago, I'm finally rich. How crypto made me rich. And then just 5 days ago, help me. I need your help. Forrest, what is your advice to the people that might be underwater on their portfolios? I myself am very much underwater. What is your advice to those people?
You got to take profits first of all, right? And I know it's easier said than done because you're never going to take profits at the top. You're going to take profits, and when you do, it's going to keep running another 10, 20, 30%. Maybe if you're in a bull market, it runs another 10x and just rips up in your face, and you're sad about you counting all the money that you could have had. But at the end of the day, you have to take profits. There's no way around it. We're operating in a space where things are super volatile. They rip up, but they also rip back down. If you're underwater, continue to build. Look, we've got Bitcoin ETF news coming, potential catalyst. We've got the Bitcoin halving catalyst coming up in the next 10 months. We're in the home stretch here. I personally think that barring some catastrophic meltdown of the crypto markets, like, what we had with COVID in 2020, which I don't think is par for the course. I don't think it's wise to expect that exact scenario or something similar is going to happen again. I think the bottom's in. I think the bottom's in, and you're going to have an opportunity to see 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 9, 10 X's, in the next year or two. It's all a matter of paying attention and making sure you're taking profits and hitting your financial goals when the time comes. I think it's important, speaking of that, to have financial goals, right? I've seen people round trip portfolios up to $1 million, up to really $10 million, and round trip it all the way back down because they don't have anything that they want to take that money out and use it for, whether it's investment, rental property, or paying off the house or whatever. So they end up not doing anything with it, and then they round trip it. So having some financial goals can definitely help you take profits.
Some great advice, and also be patient, guys. Right? When you look back and you see yourself, you made it through the 2-year long bear market, 2.5 year long bear market. You watch your portfolio go down 90, 95%. Some of you a little bit higher. And then you look back after a year, you're a year into the bull market, and your portfolio's back and you're 10x. And you look back and you say, wow, 2.5 years wasn't really that much time to 10x my $100,000 portfolio or my $1,000 portfolio, whatever the number is. It's just when you're in the moment, it feels like a very long time. But looking back at it a couple of years from now, we're going to be like, damn, that was fast. Faster than gold, faster than the stock market, faster than anything out there. Now, speaking of fast, Algorand is fast, and apparently their largest DeFi project has fastly left. This is tweeted from Coin Bureau. Algorand's largest DeFi protocol has announced that it is shutting down. AlgoFi said there was no longer a viable path for the company behind the protocol to continue. AlgoFi users are being advised to withdraw their crypto from the protocol by September 1st. Forrest, is this sound a siren time on Algorand? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not good. I don't know what Algorand, the actual main chain's budget is, and if they can continue to develop. But obviously, if there's large projects going down and can no longer operate because they don't have the capital to do so, and they don't have the capital inflows to do so because people aren't putting their money on this chain because for one reason or another, then yeah, that's not good. I did see something. I saw a tweet by Charles Hoskinson. I think Charles Hoskinson reached out and was like, hey, Algorand should become a side chain of Cardano, which would be super interesting, and not exactly sure how that would work. But yeah, I mean, the bear market comes for everybody. It's rough, and I think we're probably not out of the woods quite yet. I did say I do think that the bottom is in for Bitcoin, but I still think there's maybe 10 more months until we really start to see a lot of capital flow back into this space. And I think there's a lot of projects that even if they were high quality projects, this has become a super competitive space. You have a few people, a few projects fighting over, or I'm sorry, you have a lot of projects fighting over a small amount of users and a small amount of capital. Like if you look at the actual number of NFT traders per day on Ethereum, it's in the hundreds. Like the people that are consistently trading, it's not a lot of money, or I'm sorry, it's not a lot of people, not a lot of money compared to what we saw in the bull market, and everyone's fighting for scraps. So there's going to be good projects and good teams that just don't make it, and that's true of any industry, but it's going to be particularly true of the blockchain and crypto industry. So I can't be surprised. It's sad, especially if people were doing a really good job and it's a good quality project. But at the end of the day, the bear market will come for everybody.
I agree. And, I just think back to the time where the two largest NFT projects on Solana migrated to Ethereum and Polygon, and that's DeGods and Utes. And I came on here and I said That's not a good sign. Our Solana NFT is dead. And look, fast forward 2-3 months, the Solana NFT scene is continuing to thrive. Does this mean Algorand is dead? No. Is it a cause for concern? Yes. But could it be an opportunity? We saw Algorand gets over $3 last bull cycle. You're looking at a 10-cent Algorand. To me, this would be more of a higher risk, but very, very high reward. We're talking about a 30x here, guys. 30x for a top 50 token that's been around for a while, that's got a great team behind it. It's got great technology. But again, a little cause for concern. You want to try to walk the unbiased line and not be in your feelings because you're a big Algorand fan or because you hate Algorand. And I've grown out of that stage myself. Solana was a great example. I was just like personally, I didn't like the project. It was a VC token, but I separated my emotions from what was actually happening. And it's made me a better investor. It's made me be able to look at projects from a better perspective and to be able to not just invest myself, but also speak on these projects without bias. Of course, there are projects we have bias on, but overall, also, speaking of bias, I'm very biased towards the people that support our channel. One of those people is Wisetree, who just joined the Hodler Club, upgraded his membership. Wisetree, to you, my friend, thank you so much. Welcome to the Hodler Club. We appreciate you, and we appreciate all of you that support this channel. Now, also, one thing I want to note, not going to spend time on this, but in case you had money on FTX, their claims is now live at claims.ftx.com. Guys, there's a lot of scam links, phishing links out there. Visit the official FTX official handle. Only click on links from there. Don't get caught up in a scam. Always double, triple, quadruple check. It's not worth it. It's worth the extra 2-3 minutes to verify before you put any password, before you connect any wallet on there. So just be careful. Now, before we get into our CPI numbers, I'd like to give a shout out to the other channel sponsor of the show, and that is none other than the leading crypto IRA account company, and that is iTrust Capital. They are a sponsor of today's show. If you plan on hodling your cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the above, and you don't plan on taking profits, and it's your retirement account, well, how nice would it be to be able to pull those profits without paying taxes? You can do that by setting up a Roth IRA on iTrust Capital. Click the link in the description of this video, support the channel. Also, get a free $100 when you fund your account. Speaking of funding, bad segue, CPI numbers are in. So, 3%. Forrest, we are so close to 2%. So damn close. We went from what was last month? 4.9? Do you remember off the top of your head what last month was? Chad, help me out. What was last month's CPI print? I want to say 4.9. I could be wrong. Forrest, do you know off the top of your head?
I don't. I've been taking a peek at Trueflation, and the Trueflation numbers have been down around 2 to 2.5% for a month and a half now. So this is just kind of, CPI is a lagged indicator, and it's coming in, and it's getting real close to that target. I think core CPI is still a little bit higher than what was core CPI
4.8.
4.8.
Down from 5.3, 5.6.
Yeah, still high, but trending in the right direction. So will be really interesting to see what the Fed and Jerome Powell decides to do. We're starting to get into that situation where you don't want to over tighten.
Well, apparently no one's told Jerome Powell and the Fed that, because according to the CME Fed Watch tool, we're still at 92% that we're going to see a 25 basis point rate hike. Another 25-point rate hike. If we saw a drawdown, it looks like chat's saying 4% or 4.1. So we see 100 basis point drop in inflation in CPI headline, and the Fed wants to do another rate hike. I mean, we're currently sitting at between 500 and 525 basis points. So between 5 and 5.25%, which is over double. Well, not over double. My apologies. A little under double what the CPI headline inflation rate is, and still above what the core rate is, and the PCE number, and every other metric they use. The effective federal funds rate is above that, which is what you need it to be in order to quell demand and inflation. Well, we have that now. So why not just sit there, wait a little longer, see if inflation continues to go down as you hold the rates at 5 to 5.25%, because we know what happens when you continue to raise rates. It throws the bond market in a frenzy. A lot of these banks are already holding massive paper losses on their balance sheets. Raising interest rates is only going to make it worse. Not only that, but that means the debt that the U.S. government services continues to get more expensive. So, Forrest, do you agree with the CME? Do you think we're going to get another 25 basis point rate hike? And in your opinion, and this is your opinion, of course, we're not Fed FOMC members here. We don't know what they're going to do. We're just speculating here. Do you think it's the right move to go another 25, or do you agree with me we should keep it where we're at and see how it plays out?
Me personally, I would, and look, I'll give credit where credit's due, or at least I'll say, Jerome Powell constantly says, this is a really blunt instrument, right? It's not like they have a ton of control over many other things besides just, tightening and loosening rates. So, look, you got a lot of variables, just a ton of variables to take into account when you're talking about the economy and trying to bring down inflation and trying to avoid high unemployment rates and avoid a recession. And at the end of the day, all they really have the decision to do is, tighten or cut or hold, 25 basis points. At the end of the day, I don't know how big of a deal the last 25 basis point rate hike is going to be. If they do one more, I don't think that's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And look, maybe it is, versus, just holding on for another month or so. I do think we're getting to a point where we're getting to a point where we're starting to see unemployment creep up. It's still low. That's my personal canary in the coal mine. If you look at, when we look at the charts in a second, I'll show the unemployment rate overlaid with S&P 500. And that's why I feel like they think they have the ability, or the leeway or the room to hike one more time. They don't want inflation to be entrenched, and unemployment's still very low in comparison to where it's been in the past. So I feel like they're erring on the side of caution. And at the end of the day, they don't necessarily want to pivot very, publicly, in the sense that their job becomes more difficult when the S&P 500 goes up. When markets go up, people have more money and they spend more. Demand is higher. They're trying to curb demand. So when you have the S&P 500 ripping up in their face, that can, potentially play into their decision-making process. So I can kind of see their justification as to why they want to raise rates one more time, or potential. I don't know, maybe they'll do 2 or 3 more times, but I think that would be nuts if they did. That I think a couple of them have talked about 2 more rate hikes, but I think this will probably be the last one. Me personally, and I'm not Jerome Powell. If I was, I would probably err on the side of caution and be pausing here, just because we're starting to see unemployment slip up a little bit, and inflation is trending in the correct direction.
And if you're wondering, well, how come Bitcoin hasn't pumped? We'll get into that in a second. But first, I want to share this tweet by Charlie Bilello, which, by the way, guys, if you're in a macro, you need to follow Charlie Bilello on Twitter. Here's his Twitter handle, just so I'll share with you guys, at Charlie Bilello. There it is. Go follow him. Great stuff. He tweets all the time. And so here we go. Here's a chart. So this is a more, I want to say, friendlier graphic version to see versus what the Bureau of Labor Statistics gives us. And so you see here in the red is June, the last June reading year over year, and in the blue is this year, June, year over year. You see transportation is pretty flat. Electricity has gone up this year, or has gone down this June versus last June. Everything essentially has gone down with the exception of shelter. That has continued to go up. And massive divergence on the fuel oil and gasoline. Last June, we saw 59.9% increase. And this June, year over year, we're seeing a 26.5% decrease. Fuel oil even higher, coming in at 36.6. And then as far as global inflation rates, again, brought to you by Charlie Bilello, we have China leading the way with 0, which I don't buy for a single second. But here we go. The U.S., 3%. And just to see some of the other countries of note, Canada 3.4%, India 4.8%, which is top five as far as market dominance, as far as GDP in the globe. The Eurozone is at 5.5%, Germany 6.4%. And then look at the bottom, guys, 458% in Venezuela and 114% in Argentina. I can't imagine living in those countries. And if you are someone living in those countries, man, I feel so bad. But that is why we have an outlet in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And so that is why you're also watching the show. All right. Forrest, let's take a look at the crypto markets. And so we're taking a look here at the total market cap coming in at 1.19 trillion, down just under, or just a little bit over 0.1%, with volume coming in at 30.6 billion. Bitcoin dominance right at 50% on the nose. Bitcoin, $74. Forrest, why hasn't Bitcoin moved? Inflation is going down. We're almost at 2%, and we're down 0.2% over the last day. Flat on the week. What's going on here, bro?
Yeah. Do we want to take a peek at the charts?
Please, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll share my screen here, and the reason Bitcoin, in my opinion, and the rest of the crypto market isn't necessarily ripping up with the stock market here is you do have over 9,000 Bitcoin on the move, and that's coming from the U.S. government wallets. So I believe the U.S. government owns roughly 40,000 Bitcoin that they're going to be selling by the end of the year, or at least that's what they've said. So you got 9,000 Bitcoin that are potentially going to be market sold, or sold averaged out of, sold average, like the term is TWAP, but to keep it simple is just they'll just sell it, Bitcoin every 10 minutes or every 20 minutes, every hour until they've sold all 9,000 of them. So that's obviously not a good sign. Who wants to bid Bitcoin into a potential 9,000 Bitcoin dump? It's a lot of money. And that's why, in my opinion, Bitcoin hasn't ripped up today with the rest of the market. But if we actually go and look at the chart, I mean, the Bitcoin chart, probably the least interesting in terms of, what's changed since we talked about this on Monday. We're just continuing. So I won't spend a lot of time on it. We're just continuing to range between 30 and 31. And as far as trading goes, just looking to play a breakout on either direction. I honestly am biased towards the upside for multiple reasons. But like I said, the downside possibility that we kind of briefly touched on Monday was like, hey, if the U.S. government or Mt. Gox distributions come out, that could send the market lower. Now, I don't necessarily think it's going to send it that low. I think I outlined 28K. If I'm not mistaken, off the top of my head, 28K is a potential downside target. Otherwise, we get a scenario where, something bad happens. Binance US goes under. Binance US, stops, halts trading or something like that. Everybody freaks out. We sweep these lows. We grab all that liquidity there, and then we run it back up. And you just see how much demand is down there, ready to buy Bitcoin, moving into this Bitcoin ETF. Approval process. So I'm net bullish just because of the BlackRock and Fidelity and the large asset managers moving into the space. But that doesn't mean that we can't have some short-term catalysts to the downside that create dip buying opportunities.
Awesome. And then Forrest, I wanted to share real quick. So this is from Matthew Highland. We've been talking about Bollinger Bands for the last, I would say, week or so. And I mean, look at how tight these bands are. And if you take a look at historically, when we've been this tight, this is back when Bitcoin was at around 16.5. Are we going to see another violent move like we saw back in November of last year, where we went from 16.5 to about 22.5, 23,000? What are your thoughts on this? I know this is a pretty hot topic out there as far as TA analysts and traders. Even the man himself, John Bollinger, who created the Bollinger Bands, he's saying we're going to see a big move coming for Bitcoin. But with the Mt. Gox looming, with the U.S. government selling crypto looming, what are your thoughts? Does history tend to repeat itself when it comes to Bitcoin price action in terms of volatility? What are your thoughts to this whole Bollinger Band thing?
Yeah. So I'll give kind of my take on that. And one of the things that I'll throw on here is I'll show our long margin pressure levels, and I'll just show you. So essentially, what's going on here, and it's really becomes even more apparent when you zoom out and you just kind of look at what 30 to 31K is. It's basically our bull market range. And I'd say, maybe all the way up to 60K, we could, make an argument for, 56 to 58,000. But this was where the vast majority of our trade volume took place in the bull market, right? Between 31 and, call it $60,000. So this is what Bitcoin's trying to do here is re-enter this range. And if Bitcoin reclaims this range, this extraordinarily bullish, when you reclaim a range after a large deviation like this, oftentimes you rotate very quickly to the midpoint. And then if you take out the midpoint, you're rotating to the top of the range. So when Bitcoin breaks out above 31,000, if it does, you're talking about, potential 30% rip just up to 36 to 37K at minimum. That's where you start to see some actual prior structure come in. If not, up to 42,000 as our potential midpoint. So you've got that kind of structural range bound resistance here, but then you also have just a ton of resistance coming in here at 31K because of our margin pressure levels. You can no longer go long on 2x leverage. Above 31K, hide your liquidation point below this local low. And if we also move this up to our most recent swing low, you also see the exact same confluence at exactly 31K with our 5X level, where you can no longer go long on 5X leverage. So all the leveraged buys are having to kind of leave the market, right? They're having to leave the market, and we're just jamming up into this resistance point. And ultimately, in my opinion, what it's going to take is some sort of catalyst to jam us through this resistance. However, once we get the confidence, right, from the market that Bitcoin is moving up above this resistance and it has claimed it, I believe you'll see a large move up like we saw, recently. Like we've seen some of these. We're going to see this consolidation, right? Maybe we sweep the lows, come back down, right, and we see this get bid up. And then we end up, ripping to our next resistance point, which you've got some resistance here at 33K. Right. But beyond 33K, it starts to get sparse up to like 30, 36, 37. And then, you've got 42. And Bitcoin could really, really start ripping here until it gets jammed up on another set of confluent resistance. But essentially, Bitcoin wants to go up here. The price action is bullish. There's a bull flag, like it's consolidating under resistance. It wants to go up. Every time they try to take it down, the bids come in right at 30K. It's just a matter of, do we take this out? And I believe that once we take out 31K and hold, you start seeing 4-hour candles and daily candles printing above 31K. That's going to be your signal that we're probably at a minimum ripping to 33K. We rip through 33K, 36 to 37 is on the table. And from where we're at right now, that's a 20% rip in Bitcoin. That means, alts, you'll probably see Bitcoin dominance go up. Throughout that, but then you see the same pattern where that, in the consolidation phase, you start to see a little bit of an altcoin run and a bleed out in Bitcoin, so on and so forth. So this is exactly what we want to see, and I'm pretty bullish to position to the upside unless something changes. I think any dips from negative catalysts like the government selling Bitcoin is very likely temporary and should probably be used as an opportunity to buy.
All I heard was the bull market. Guys, before we bring on our very special guest, make sure to hit the like button. Also, if you're new here, say hello. We'll make sure to personally welcome you. So this next gentleman, Ben Weiss, the founder of CoinFlip, also the CEO and founder of Olive. We're going to let him explain what exactly the company is that we're doing. So let's go ahead and bring him in, Mr. Ben Weiss. Ben, how you doing, my friend?
I'm great. And it's Olive, but I wish it was Olive because that actually sounds pretty cool.
My apologies. Olive, I apologize. I was debating in my head whether it's Olive or Olive. I decided to go with what Robin said, and apparently I'm wrong and going with what Robin said again. My name is David. The other gentleman is Forrest. We'd like to welcome you. First time on the show. I believe Rob met you. It was either you or someone from your company down in either Consensus or Bitcoin Miami. He was thoroughly impressed with what you guys were doing.
Austin, right?
In Austin. Okay, so Consensus in Austin, yeah. And so he was thoroughly impressed with what your company is doing. And before I give you the floor to kind of give us a little overview on what Olive does, I do want to, I have your About page pulled up here. And so here we go. Founded in 2015 in Chicago, over 400,000 satisfied crypto customers, and over 4,000 Bitcoin ATMs worldwide. I do know CoinFlip is, and I correct me if I'm wrong, has the largest network of Bitcoin ATMs across the globe, correct?
Correct. And I started CoinFlip when I was 20 with my co-founders because I wanted there to be a physical and tangible way for people to get into crypto. I know the power of crypto, and getting people access to it is so important. And now doing this 8+ years, Olive is the next natural step in that evolution. A lot of people with crypto are already in who fully believe in the technology, who might love the idea of freedom and self-sovereignty that crypto brings. But what I'm trying to do with Olive is, how do we bring people into this market who they don't necessarily care about crypto, they don't care about blockchain, they just want an easier way to do something, whether it's paying their handyman, sending a remittance. I mean, we're seeing what's happening with banks and what just got averted with the debt ceiling showdown. But I think a lot of people are looking for hard assets. And I was watching the show earlier just now, and I believe it's going to be a bull market too. And we want to bring that next generation of users in who might not be crypto native people, who might not understand about the tech. And that's what we're trying to do with Olive, from 24/7 customer support to a fully self-custodial model, so you can truly own your coin. So it's the next evolution of bringing people into the market.
I love it. And going through your website, I noticed there's not a lot of like technical crypto jargon on there. It's more like you said, the average investor who might not care. And I want to ask you this, Ben. So with that being said, with everything you just said, do you see these traditional companies that are starting to enter our space? BlackRock ETF, Fidelity, Vanguard. Do you see them as more of your competition, or the current crypto exchanges and companies like Coinbase, like Binance, as more of your competition?
Well, I think we're all on the same team, and we're trying to bring people into the market. I want people, whether you get your coin at Olive or, eventually from BlackRock or at our CoinFlip ATM at your local convenience store or grocery store, I see people getting into crypto as a win, regardless of how they get there. And I think it's Olive's great, Coinbase is great, the ATMs are great, but if if pension funds start getting into crypto, if larger institutions get into crypto, that's just good for everyone else. I mean, the price of crypto will continue to go up. More and more people will be exposed to crypto. So I say the more channels, the better. And by the way, the fact that these institutions, some of who've in the past, and if you look at their comments, have said negative things about Bitcoin, negative things about crypto, that they're coming around right now, I think is a huge bull market sign right now. And I mean, year to date, I think crypto's up over 80%, and the S&P 500 is only up 15%. And a lot of the OG crypto people might, not like Fidelity or BlackRock or some of these more traditional financial companies, but there's smart people at those companies, and they're making a big bet that crypto is the future. So I couldn't be more excited.
That's awesome. And, we've seen a lot of negativity as far as on the regulatory side. The SEC coming after crypto exchanges and crypto platforms. Does that worry you at all? And I know, Olive was founded in 2015. Have you guys had to make any adjustments moving forward since you've seen all these companies start to get under the SEC's scope as far as what they're trying to do and regulate? Have you guys had to change anything in your business model? And maybe speak on that.
Well, two keys of business are being adaptive and mitigating risk. And I wouldn't say we've changed anything, but it definitely influences our decisions. So I've always been a fan of self custody because I believe people should own their own assets. But when you saw what happened with FTX, when you saw that, custodians and exchanges might be getting more scrutiny from government agencies like the SEC, that just reaffirmed the decision that I made. So I think that the regulatory landscape definitely plays a role in business decisions that you make, whether it's changing direction or whether it's, confirming decisions you've already made. But business, you have to be flexible. You have to be adaptive.
I agree. And you mentioned we talked about Bitcoin ATMs. And I pulled a map up here. Just in Las Vegas alone, you can kind of see in orange all the places here. So with the whole regulatory landscape in the US, we saw Binance stop letting people onboard US dollars. Did you see an uptick in people using your Bitcoin ATMs? And do you see that as a positive or negative? I know this sounds like a weird question, but for someone to have to go to an ATM and put money in versus maybe going to Olive and on-ramping their fee out there, how do you see that relationship moving forward?
Yeah, well, I think the unique thing about our business is that we're bridging the digital and physical. We have a way to buy crypto online, whether it's by ACH, debit card, wire transfer. But think about banks. There's online banking and there's physical branches. And crypto can be confusing and it can be intimidating, especially for someone who's just getting into the space. Someone like my grandma, she writes checks. She goes into physical bank branches. Why wouldn't there be a physical option for her to get into cryptocurrency? So we're there for the customer any way that they need to be served, whether it's the physical, the digital, or the combination of both.
And the people who are in our community watch our show. I say this all the time. I am all for projects who are breaking down the barrier to entry to crypto. We talk about crypto is going to be mass adoption. Everyone's going to be using Bitcoin. It's the future of payments. Well, if you don't break these barriers down and we continue to make it harder or confusing for people, we're never going to get that mass adoption. And so I applaud companies that are out there and companies like Olive who are breaking those barriers down. I do want to ask my co-host Forrest if he has any questions for you, Ben. Forrest, any questions?
Yeah, I was just more of a curiosity is how are these for the owners of these or the operators of these Bitcoin ATMs? How's the revenue? What's that look like? I mean, for there to be so many across the U.S., it must be a pretty attractive thing to own and operate one of these.
So we own and operate all of the kiosks. We don't sell them, but what we do is we partner with these store locations, and obviously they're going to be getting a rent check for us for hosting these machines. And especially during COVID, there were a lot of store owners who told me, especially the mom and pop store owners, that Bitcoin ATM was one of the only things that kept their store going. By the way, these ATMs are bringing in 300 to 400 unique users every single month per location. So if you have a grocery store, if you have a convenience store, it's not just the rent that you're getting from CoinFlip and from the ATM, it's the customers that is driving to your location. People are walking into your 7-Eleven, your grocery store, your convenience store that would have never walked in if they weren't trying to purchase Bitcoin. So I think that, and it takes 1 foot of square space. I can't think of a better way to use up 1 foot of square space.
That is such an interesting perspective, and I agree with you. Ben, I want to ask you on a more, general topic, like what are you most excited about in the upcoming bull market? We got the halving less than a year away. The ETF narrative, I feel like, the narratives are starting to shift. It's becoming more positive. What are you most excited about personally moving forward into the next bull market, the adoption, just anything in general?
Well, I agree with what you're saying 100% because Bitcoin, the price was sort of following other assets for a while, and now Bitcoin's kind of broken through. So what does that tell us? It tells us that the fundamentals, either the market sentiment, people are believing in new use cases, they're believing in better fundamentals, but something's changed besides just monetary policy. And I'm most excited about the adoption, about the use cases. We have some really cool products we'll be rolling out by the end of year with Olive, beyond just buying and selling and swapping crypto, that we'll get into those. But I'm incredibly excited about the future of crypto. And apparently some of the smartest people at the largest institutions are as well. One, as a tech entrepreneur, that's very important, is if you look at the history of tech, there's a lot of cool tech products that never went anywhere because we didn't start with solving a customer problem. It doesn't mean anything to build cool tech if you don't start with the customer. So I think what I'm always thinking about when I approach these problems is, where's the friction in the day-to-day things that I do, in the day-to-day ways that I use money, in the day-to-day ways that I pay people? And can crypto be a viable and better solution here? Maybe it can, maybe it can't. But I think that's how you have to approach mass adoption of crypto versus just saying, this tech is cool, let's build it and they will come.
That's awesome. Ben, we wanted to thank you so much for joining us on the show. Guys, if you want more information, visit olive.com. That's OLLIV.com. And Ben, we're rooting for you guys. We would love to have you back on the show when some of these new products and services come out. And so again, we thank you for your time, and we look forward to talking to you again.
It was great to be here. I'll see you around.
Thanks, Ben. Take care.
Have a good one.
Yeah, and I'll say it again, crypto can be confusing, right? When you try to explain to someone how blockchain works. And so companies that come along, and that is why I've been more kind of excited about Solana, because they're approaching it from a way of, hey, how can we make it practical and easy for the average user to come in and use our network? You got to look at the implementation with ChatGPT. You look at everything else they're doing. I think it's great. I definitely think we need more people like that in our space. And for you to be able to have a platform to buy, sell, trade, and to self-custody, best of both worlds. All right. Well, let's take a look at what some of the other cryptocurrency tokens are doing as far as price. This is over the last day. We have Kaspa up 7.6%. China token, which is Conflux, they're up 10.6%. We got a lot in the green over the last day. If we take a look at the last week, the Richard Heart ecosystem is up. Hex up 19. Pulse Chain, the Pulse Chain or PulseX? I believe it's Pulse Chain. That is up almost 20% as well. And Solana up 18.7%. Now, Forrest, I mentioned you had an interesting take on Bitcoin. And I got my phone here, and I'm just gonna read it, what you text me, and I'm gonna need you to explain yourself. You said, kind of sad Bitcoin is gonna end up being a Fed chain. They'll be able to track everything, and price will be manipulated and controlled by the biggest asset managers. Need the privacy element like Monero does to truly have financial freedom. And even then, big players can still come in and manipulate the price. Kind of a bleak outlook for the anti-establishment crew. Forrest, explain yourself.
Yeah, so a little bit of a cynical take there from me. Now, I want to be clear. Look, I'm super bullish on crypto. As far as just the number going up, Fidelity and BlackRock and your mainstream traditional finance players getting into the space, and it's extremely bullish for the number going up. But as far as regulation and the monitoring of transactions and, the ability to use Bitcoin, anonymously, it's actually the opposite. It's really bad. So if you're in the camp of you want full, if you're in crypto for financial freedom and, privacy and being able to do financial transactions without being tracked by the government, then you really need a privacy layer. And even then it still gets tricky because you still have, institutions that could come in and buy up these privacy coins to potentially, manipulate the price. But what sparked that tweet was because we were talking about the Arkham thing where they're doing this program where it's pay to dox, right? So you're gonna you could get paid a reward for identifying the actual person behind a Bitcoin address. Well, it sounds like something that the IRS would be super interested in. So yeah, is Bitcoin as a technology uncensorable to a large degree? I personally think that, nothing is perfectly uncensorable, right? But for all practical purposes, Bitcoin's uncensorable. So like, yeah, you can send your financial transactions through and send money regardless of what's going on. You can't be censored. But it's also not private. And if the government has a problem with you, and again, this is putting on, I don't even want to say it's putting on the tinfoil hat, because it's really not. We're already seeing it in a lot of places. You see, and I hate to bring up a controversial figure, but it's just the one that comes up off the top of my head. You had Andrew Tate had $500,000 worth of Bitcoin seized. Now, I'm not saying that was right or wrong to do that, but if the government knows that you own the Bitcoin and you're doxxed and you cannot use that chain transparently, they can monitor your transactions and penalize you or tax you accordingly to those transactions. They could say, hey, we have a problem with this transaction. Come in and explain it. Right. Whereas with Monero or another privacy coin, and by the way, I don't own any Monero. I'm not shilling Monero or shilling a privacy coin here. I was just kind of giving a cynical take of like, look, we're moving towards a place where, yeah, we're getting traditional financial institutions coming in and moving into the space. That's really, really good for the number going up. Super, super bullish for Bitcoin, but pretty bad. And I kind of said it's kind of sad because like, ultimately, what a lot of people got into Bitcoin for, I could see a path where that starts to go away. And I'm not saying that Bitcoin's going to be, necessarily censored. It is uncensorable, but you'll probably see the government monitoring Bitcoin transactions. You'll probably see if you own over $1 million worth of Bitcoin, $10 million worth of Bitcoin, wouldn't be surprised if that wallet, along with that person's name and address, is in a database somewhere because they've been doxxed and they're a person of interest, they're a whale, or they own a lot of crypto, and their financial transactions are on a public blockchain. Right. And if it's on a public blockchain, you'll probably have, services that monitor that and dox that. And we're starting to see that with Arkham. And my whole point here was just like, it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad. If you're really like super anti-establishment, then you probably, you're going to make a case for Monero and a privacy layer. But that's kind of where that take was coming from. It wasn't necessarily, crapping on Bitcoin at all. I'm actually very bullish on Bitcoin. It's, more so crapping on the effects that traditional financial adoption is probably going to have on transparency and privacy of using the Bitcoin network.
And but that is why we love having you on, because you're not afraid to go out of the box and think out of the box and give takes that people are and the Bitcoin maxis can hear you, can watch the show and say, what is this guy smoking? And but it's very intriguing. That is how we move the space forward, is we have conversations about things that maybe you don't agree with, and maybe you watching don't agree with. And it looks like you watching don't agree with liking the show, because got 190 viewers and only 81 likes. Guys, come on. Help us out. The least you can do. Spend all this time bringing you great content, bringing you great guests. Help us out. Be a part of it. Like the show. Share the show. Be active in the chat. That's all we ask. We love you. All right. Now, Forrest, Cardano. It's been labeled a ghost chain, a dead chain. Nothing is happening. Price hasn't moved. We're under 30 cents. But apparently, their network activity and ADA's oversold price action hint at a powerful breakout. And Forrest, to give you a heads up, I will kindly ask you to share a Cardano chart to look at this powerful potential breakout. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and read the content of this article. However, under the hood, the network, referring to Cardano, has been making progress with an uptick in DeFi activity after a scalability upgrade in May, which was Hydra. The technical and on-chain analysis of the token also shows potential for a positive recovery. The network recorded an uptick in activity after the implementation of Hydra, which was launched in the first week of May this year. Also, by the way, if you're a Cardano fan and if you're a channel member, throw the Cardano emoji in the chat. Let us know your support. The total ADA deposited in DeFi applications on Cardano has risen strongly, reaching 2 times its peak value during the bull market of 2021. And these are some charts from DeFi Llama. Additionally, a Jarvis Labs report found ADA is one of the most decentralized layer ones out there based on the Nakamoto coefficient, which measures the minimum number of entities that collectively control a third of all coins staked on the market. Pseudonymous There are some words I have a hard time pronouncing. Okay. The pseudonymous analysis, Cody from Jarvis Labs wrote in the report, Cardano's not dead, but very much alive, kicking and ready to throw down in the next bull run. Forrest, I'll end it there. Alive, kicking, and ready to throw down in the next bull run. What do you take from all these metrics shared in this article? Are you seeing the same sort of things? I know you're pretty big in DeFi. That is a sector you focus a lot on based off of your Research Hub papers and, just kind of talking to you. Is Cardano a potential dark horse to 20 or 30x in the next bull market based on some of the metrics that we just shared?
Hey, yeah, happy to take a look at Cardano here. So looking at Cardano TVL, so obviously we saw a big spike up to $300 million in total value locked in the Cardano ecosystem once kind of smart contracts went live. And Cardano was unfortunate in that it was kind of late to the game. It was, March, April of, let's go back. It's probably January of 2022 before this DeFi ecosystem, went online. So it was kind of like 2 years late to the game. And then it was already kind of a bear market once everything started, once Cardano's ecosystem was live. Right. So it's kind of playing catch up here. And what you'll see is, since the beginning of this year, since the beginning of 2023, aside from, a couple corrections here and there, we've had a pretty nice steady uptrend for TVL, bottoming out at around $50 million and now all the way up at 167. So over 3xing so far this year in TVL. And that's a really strong, healthy sign for any ecosystem, right? What you don't want to see is you don't want to see an ecosystem's TVL trending down. That's bad. Now, we're starting to see it trend upwards. That's a good, healthy sign. If the opposite was happening, then that's obviously not good. Now, my take is on Cardano has been pretty consistent, right? It's a phenomenal bull market coin. It's a really bad bear market coin. And that's just what the data says. I mean, you look at, bull market.
Forrest, can I interject real quick? Yep. What do you mean by a really bad bear market coins? Don't all tokens draw down 80 to 95%? What makes you say Cardano is a bad bear market coin?
Yeah, so a couple of things there. So yes, a lot of coins do draw down very large amounts. Obviously Bitcoin's not drawing down this much. So if we actually look at the drawdown for Cardano, you get 93%. And yeah, that's pretty, par for the course for a lot of altcoins. Cardano's held on pretty decently to some market share, remaining in, kind of the top 10 to 15 coins at any given time. But it's just particularly, you're not seeing a lot of retracements. It just grinds these green easy bands all the way down, and you're not seeing bounces along the way or retracements back up to the red easy bands. And I'll just, pick a random example that I know this is, this was in the middle of a bear market for QNT. Well, we saw, we saw a large drawdown. We'll call it 90%. So not quite 93%, but 90% on par. But you also saw just a large rip, right? And yeah, you could say, crypto in general, of course, in a bear market, it's going to perform poorly, right? You look at Solana. Solana's down horrendously, probably absolutely worse. Yeah, 96, 97%. So Solana, I could say the same exact thing about Solana, and you have to hold me accountable for that. Yes, Solana's been a terrible bear market coin. It's been a phenomenal bull market coin. And yeah, the same could be said, but you do have some outliers of things that you may want to be in a bear market. You may want to position in a bear market. Been a big fan of Ethereum, which saw an 81% drawdown, which is bad, but it's still 50% above, right? It would take another 50% drop to push us down there to 90% drawdown. So yeah, totally fair to say, but Cardano is something that it just grinds down. However, we're starting to see that level out. Whereas before we were seeing this grinding down in the green easy bands with very few mean reversions, right? Very few mean reversions, very few trips up to the red easy bands, very, very little buy pressure at all. We're now starting to see these green easy bands getting respected a lot more. right? You're starting to see him get respected a lot more. Now, the last 2 trips that we've taken down here, we've not touched the bold green easy band. We've touched the green dash band, and we've gotten strong reactions, or at least we're in the middle of getting a strong reaction off these bands initially so far. So the other thing with Cardano is I'm of the opinion that it's very heavily retail driven. I don't see funds with allocations to Cardano. I don't see VC. There's no VC investors to my knowledge. It's just a very heavily retail driven coin, and therefore it's going to be driven predominantly in that bull market retail frenzy. I mean, ultimately, Cardano performed better than anything last market cycle, despite not having smart contracts, which is mind-boggling.
Right.
Mind-boggling that Cardano crushed everything in terms of bottom to top returns, but didn't have smart contracts, didn't participate in DeFi. So now we're starting to see DeFi come alive. We're starting to see some bottoming out here. We're starting to see, this 25-cent region hold twice now. We're starting to see the green easy band region hold now. My take on Cardano has been throughout this entire bear market, you want to buy it going into the next Bitcoin halving. And now we're 9-10 months out. Now's the time, in my opinion, to be accumulating Cardano. Maybe we take another trip down. Maybe we have, some sort of scare. I don't know. Maybe we see recession and, we get another scare, another push down to a new low or to 25 cents. But if you have a long-term outlook on crypto and you can sit patient for 12 to 24 months, I think Cardano, despite, Cardano gets hated on by, a lot of people. It's a very divisive coin for whatever reason. A lot of people love it. A lot of people hate it. I'm of the opinion that based off of historic market performance in a bull market, that you're going to want to hold Cardano. Is probably going to be a solid, at minimum, a solid performer. You think about worst case scenario for Cardano in a bull market. And if we actually just take a peek at what we've seen with some other old coins that have kind of fallen off the radar. And I'm not saying Cardano is going to fall off the radar. I'm not saying Cardano is not going to make another all-time high. What I am saying is let's just talk about kind of the worst case scenario where maybe Cardano does fall off the wagon. Maybe let's just say it doesn't perform like it has in previous market cycles. And it does something like NEM or XEM or Zcash or whatever. Well, a lot of those dinosaur coins that performed really, really well in 2016, 2017, that underperformed in 2020, they still gave you, 60, 70, 80% retracements towards their all-time highs, which from where we're at right now on Cardano, you're looking at a 2 to 3x in the course of 12 to 24 months. And that's kind of your underperformance scenario. So Cardano's looking better and better. I think it's getting towards that time where accumulation makes a lot of sense, especially as we're under this 21-week simple moving average. I think any more trips down to the green easy bands from here on out should probably be purchased. This last one would have been a really good opportunity to get in at around 25 cents.
Love it. All right. Well, there's some analysis for all you Cardano homers. Guys, you'll notice there is a pinned comment at the top of your chat. We had George from Cryptos R Us join us yesterday. Did announce a Las Vegas meetup with some high net worth individuals, some people in the industry. We will be there. We're actually co-hosting it. And so if you want to win free entry into the meetup in Las Vegas, July 29th, 7 p.m. to midnight, at the Foundation Room in Mandalay Bay. It includes a free open bar, free food, and you get to mingle and meet some of your favorite people in the crypto space. We do have a giveaway going. We're going to pick 10 winners. If you're a winner, you get a +1 as well. Make sure to click the link. All you have to do is follow us on Twitter and subscribe to Sin City Crypto, and you will get a valid entry into the competition. And just to kind of show you guys the Foundation Room, one of the premier locations in all of Las Vegas. Just amazing, classy, big. I mean, this thing is we're going to have a blast. And we'd love for you guys to come join us. And one of the only ways to do it from our community, if you're not holding a George NFT, is to win the giveaway. And so feel free, hop in there. But I do want to say, If for some reason you don't think you can make it out to Vegas, even if you win, save the entries for the people that potentially can. So with that being said, guys, want to give another shout out to channel sponsor Cam's Blue Wire Technology. Visit bluewiretech.com or click the link in the description of this video if you want to maximize your network and your IT solutions for your business. Also, go follow Forrest on Twitter at 00Forrest. That's Forrest with 2 R's. Also, if you want more in-depth research, go to Sistine.ai, or there is an affiliate link in the description of this video. A great way to support not only Forrest, but Sin City Crypto as well. You have access to those easy bands. If you'd like to, you can have access to the research hub. Forrest puts in a lot of effort and time, and a lot of his, I don't want to say picks, but a lot of his research into what are some excellent opportunities to make money. I'll give one example, Mad Lads. He was hype on that mint. He talked to us about it in Georgia, and that thing went from a, what was it, a 6 Solana mint to over 90 at the height. I mean, and this is all in a bear market. When the NFT market is dry, that thing is still holding above 70, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Forrest. So even if you held on to it, you're still looking at over a 10x. So if you want access to that, use the affiliate link in the description of this video. Also, follow us on Twitter at SinCityCrypto1. Check out our merch store at inandoutcrypto.com or click the link in the description of this video. And if you're a well member, you do get 10% off. Forrest, before we sign off, anything you'd like to leave us with before I finger tornado us out of here?
Thanks so much for including me on this channel. Thanks so much for having me on. It's always a pleasure. This is, a favorite part of my day. When I usually come on Fridays, it's my favorite part of the week. I'm so happy to be here every day this week, except for yesterday. But yeah, just looking forward to the rest of the week. And we'll be back at it tomorrow, right?
Amen to that. And there's nothing else that needs to be said except for Rocco. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Big thank you to Forrest. Big thank you to Ben Wise from Olive. Come back tomorrow, same place, same time. We're going to have another banger show for you guys. On behalf of all of us here, we love you. See you tomorrow. Peace.
Everybody know we here for entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I spit the game, but they gave it. Named according to your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy the dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming, hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado